It's food migration, conflict will affect food insecurity. And so in these past 7 months, Sierra Leone don't work with the members of the council, both permanent and non-permanent, for push resolutions and for come out with statements then where they support global peace and security. And notable conflicts then where Sierra Leone don't play a pivotal role in getting support for then conflict, and therefore see how then conflict then will be resolved, such as the conflict in Gaza between Israel and Palestine. Sierra Leone don't also be very much reasonable and loud with supporting a peace process for the Russia-Ukraine conflict, and Sierra Leone don't also play a significant role in pushing for resolutions where go bring about a stop to the conflict of Sudan, and also play a key role also for able to get a presidential statement for the West African UN office and the Office of Sahel, way responsible for early warnings and for also brief the UN Security Council and the UN Secretary General on security issues in West Africa. We also don't contribute enough, you should say, a lot for bring about peace in other areas of the world. So we've been in the council at a very critical time like this. They put a lot of experience to Sierra Leone, but this is only possible because of of course, the leadership of His Excellency and Sierra Leone as a nation. We experience in peace building and peace consolidation.
Whose role Salon play in all of them global conflict here so and global politics at a time where Salon take leadership? Whose role Salon play in particular? Because as a member or non-permanent member would be different from that of ordinary member.
No, every member of the council, they play a significant role.
Whose role Salon play in particular, for instance,
yes,
in these issues or then conflicts where you see the Security Council don't play key role?
I'm coming. That's what I'm saying. Each member contributes to the council. Now, 50 members, and there are 5 permanent and 10 non-permanent. Sierra Leone, for instance, be a co-pen. When they say a co-pen, you join another member for bring about an issue to the council for the council in deliberation and consideration. One notable one that the support with Sierra Leone been get for co-pen with Switzerland for bring the first presidential statement on UNOWAS, when at the UN office in West Africa and the Sahel. Sierra Leone, they vote as a member that has a right to vote in the council for all the resolutions where the council long come up with. Example, on the 19th of April, I was present there because Nabi at that high level debate, Usai Salon being get for vote for the admission of Palestine to the UN body. And also Sierra Leone on questions of the Middle East, Palestine. Sierra Leone don't always support resolutions where they call for permanent ceasefire in Palestine, and don't they call for humanitarian support. And also Sierra Leone don't contribute don't also vote and debate for the conflict in Ukraine, and also Sierra Leone don't participate in debates. We don't vote for food security and different other issues that we don't count in the council. Because we are a member, our vote count, and we've been voting reasonably and principally.
You mentioned Sierra Leone they play a different role in terms of promoting peace and security globally, and you talk about the different resolutions there. Now we look at the Salon position when it comes to the Ukraine-Russia war. What is the Salon position in terms of the Ukraine-Russia war?
Sierra Leone in position historically and today is a principal position, a country where they know for be a bridge maker. And the conflict in Ukraine, when they between Russia and Ukraine, Sierra Leone don't always vote against the aggression of Russia against Ukraine. We believe, there are the UN Charter, 51. It's very clear on, crimes such as aggression against the territorial integrity and sovereignty of a nation. We believe, as a nation, the aggression against Ukraine is wrong by the Russian Federation, and have always voted against that aggression in support of the territorial integrity of Ukraine and the sovereignty of the people of Ukraine.
Then Part of the global conflicts, then, we mentioned one notable one, the one between Palestine and Israel, and we see African countries like South Africa and other ones then take position and then support Palestine, for instance. And Salon, na non-permanent member na the Security Council, we get saying in a situation like this, whose position Salon take between Israel and Palestine?
Sierra Leone not to take any position. We position its principle. It's dictated by the principles that we believe in: justice, fairness, and independence. And so on all the occasions where the issue of Palestine don't come at the Security Council, and even outside of the Security Council, Sierra Leone believes in what is the most acceptable and accepted position with respect to the Ukraine, I beg your pardon, the Palestine-Israel conflict. We believe, say, these two countries for exist as independent sovereign nations, where go live side by side, and so therefore we believe, say, Palestine get right for exist, and we have supported that. Sierra Leone has always been in the Committee for Decolonization and Self-Determination in the United Nations, and we also support the independence of Palestine. However, the conflict will begin on the 7th of October, where Hamas deluge, terrorism on the people of Israel. We condemn them vehemently in the council and outside of the council, where over 1,000 people have been affected, women and children slain in Israel. But that's apart. We also don't condemn the aggression of Israel against the people of Palestine, especially Gaza and Rafah, where over 40,000 people, they don't kill them, mostly women and children, and many, many, many more people don't become refugees. And we believe, say, also the fact that the people not get food, and hospitals and houses and religious places, they already don't bomb them place, and they people they die. We call on Israel for making them stop this aggression against the people of Palestine. But every conflict gets an origin. We believe, say, the continued conflict in the Middle East, especially between Israel and Palestine, is as a result of the continued occupation of Palestinian land by Israel. Everybody globally, most of the global voice, since they don't condemn the act, and with a call for a two-state solution. And Sierra Leone has always been voting and supporting the freedom and of the people of Palestine, and call for cessation of violence, because then two people have to live side by side, and we always support based on principle and reasoning.
At the time of conflict between the two countries, a land we very key to them too, now the capital city, and we see Salon being the declare intention or announce for establish an embassy Israel at the time of this conflict. What in that they communicates to the other party in a situation like the two countries then get issue, but Salon want open an embassy. Now one of the countries then we come with concern.
Well, it did not, because there was no formal action or statement by the government of Sierra Leone that it will open embassy in any conflicted area. What we intend for do, because we have an existing bilateral relation with Israel, anytime the government elect for open an embassy in Israel, it will be in the capital of Israel, when at Tel Aviv.
So no concrete intention not been there at all for open embassy in Tel Aviv?
Well, we never made a statement that we're going to open an embassy in Tel Aviv. We get existing bilateral relations with Israel. Anytime we want to open an embassy in Israel, it will be in Tel Aviv, because now they're all the embassies.
So as it is now, no plan for open embassy in Israel?
Well, absolutely, given the conflict. But we pray that the two countries then will come back to peace, and we get bilateral relations with both Israel and Palestine. When that time reach for make Sierra Leone expand in diplomatic presence in the two countries by way of opening physical embassies, we will do that accordingly.
Let we look at Salon's stance when it comes to global peace and security. We don't see these so many threats, of course, the conflict across the world, and Salon a member of the Security Council, a non-permanent member of the Security Council. Outside Salon stand when it comes to in terms of promoting global peace and security?
I mean, as a member of the UN Security Council, the world's most premier council, certainly talk about global peace and security. When you're there, as we are there, we contribution towards global peace and security get very, very much significant. With the voting for resolutions, with the push cases then for global peace and security, and so therefore our role is very much indispensable and significant in global peace and security.
Let's come back to the issue of Ukraine and Russia war. Of course, you mentioned earlier, say, that the Security Council Salon day against the invasion of Russia and Ukraine. But we see of late the government don't they get some kind of bilateral relation with the Russian government. What does this mean? What does this send to the other party?
First and foremost, let's understand what diplomacy is. Diplomacy is to enhance the interest of your country and the interest of your people then through engagement with other sovereign nations of the world. Russia's conflict with Ukraine, even though we're concerned because it gets humanitarian consequences, and it's also against public international law and humanitarian law, but that now puts on hold the existing 63 years bilateral relations we'll get with the Russian Federation.
But the Salon vote against the involvement of Russia in Ukraine, and we don't see the kind of relationship between the government of Salon and that of the Russian government. As well, Ukraine gets a kind of bilateral relation with Salon. Which kind of message will this send?
It sends no message, and that's why I tell you, say, Sierra Leone, they vote on principle. Sierra Leone, they interfere into the internal politics of people. The conflict is an international conflict.
At a time where the two countries are into conflict.
I beg your pardon. Let's get the context. It don't mean say because Russia has conflict with Ukraine, we not go engage Russia, neither will they engage Ukraine. You know how many times His Excellency the President don't get telephone conversation with his counterpart, President Zelensky? You know how many times I don't get engagement with the foreign minister of Ukraine? We continue for maintain with bilateral relations with all countries of the world, especially countries we share we own values and we get mutual respect and partnership. The diplomatic relationship we get with the countries cannot stop because they are involved in conflict with another country. The principle is we condemn the conflict, but we cannot condemn our relationship because there's a conflict between another sovereign nation. Now, we could engage both countries. There's no partiality in our engagement. And we foreign policy, now one, we know they discriminate. Even the countries that we vehemently don't condemn the Russian Federation, where also they support Ukraine by way of providing money, weapon, and technical support, then still get existing bilateral relationship with the Russian Federation. The United States, for example, European countries, for example, but they still get their embassies there, not the Russian Federation, and they cooperate and collaborate with Russia in other spheres. That is what diplomacy is.
Okay. Continue for stay with me inside the program. Minister for Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. Inside the program, they talk about Salon membership, the UN Security Council. We'll come back to you. We talk about the Salon presidency. We take up this August. The program, Good Morning Salon, they continue. We go for a short break.
We come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. We still get the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Alhaji Timothy Musa Kaba, where they talk about Salon role now the Security Council as Salon will take up the presidency of the United Nations Security Council. Continue for the week now the program as we look at more issues inside the program. The Assistant Commissioner for Large Taxpayers Office, now the National Revenue Authority, Musa Alhaji Salia Kone, say NRA go find any importer or manufacturer 3 times the cost of the product them where a producer bring to the country if you not stamp them with the NRA product traffic tracing system. They talk this inside one interview with Radio Democracy after one engagement with the National Revenue Authority all with some stakeholders them outside then go tell them about how the product tracing system they work and why them for use them. Musa Alhaji Salia Kone talk more to Cheno Jallo inside this interview.
Well, briefly, this project is about for them excisable products, like them sugar drinks, soft drink, alcohol, cigarettes, and even fuel. A day for make sure say them goods there, they not smuggle them, and make sure say they pay their fair share of the taxes. And then they basically the thing they bought. But at the same time, it help for protect the consumers because they make sure say not only the legal products that we can through the legal means them will be available at the market for sale.
Before now, people will pay tax for them goods here, so we make mention of.
Yes, all along they always be done they pay excise on them products there. The only difference now is this time we don't choose for make sure say that they stamp the products there as they come in. The stamp basically they show say you don't pay the tax so you're supposed to pay. You understand? And you know to smuggle goods, you know to counterfeit goods. Now that's the stamp they produce. So for example, if we go now at the market and see you get products there now you shop, we not get that stamp, then we do not say that product will not come through the legal means, and at that point they will go apply all the relevant provisions of the law to penalize that action.
Before what are the penalties the way somebody will face it because a product of the nature so will not pass through the necessary process for making a stamp them. This stamping system I don't count. Anyway, they add it to the normal price that they use for pay to the goods here. So
well, the price of the stamp is really so small that it's not supposed to get effect on the overall price of the goods. Already, in fact, people if I buy the stamps, nobody not even notice at the market. That is how small the price of the stamp is. So in terms of say we increase price, I mean problem like that and so forth.
What are the cost of the stamp?
Well, it vary based on the type of products. For example, alcohol will get your own price, cigarettes get your own price, then soft drink they get their own price, water get your own price. So it vary.
So the customer, if you don't get the product, if we take it on our offices and for later we go stamp them or how we do it?
No, the responsibility of stamping the product is only there with the taxpayer, the importer. When you come in with your goods, you can go to your warehouse and make sure say when you in your warehouse, you don't stamp them before ever you send them back to the market. Because we will focus now on the market, now then shop them. If we see products will not get the stamp there at that particular point, we apply the penalties and the provisions that we do.
How do they get for notice somebody don't stamp this product here? So
it's simple. If you go to the person in shop, we can do regular inspection. We staff them to go out, now then supermarkets, Abacha Street, wherever we get them kind of products, and then they go there and watch and do inspection and see if all the products they stamp. If they stamp, they tell you congratulations. If they not stamp, then they not take note of them product them. They might even seize the product them from you, where the NRA go find the time where they go auction out and try to recover the tax.
The stamp is visible?
The stamp is totally visible, except for the one at the direct market. For the manufacturers, in a small dots there on top of the cap of the water, or the soft drink, small dots, black dots there. But the one that they import, the stamp totally visible. You will see how some of them will be round in shape, some of them long, based on the type of product.
How person go work and forget the stamp?
Well, when you want to get the stamp, you go for kind of domestic tax department office and ask for the excise unit, and they will give you all the information where you need for able to get the stamp, because they will go for register you the system. You understand? Register your products there and they allow you for begin buy the stamp.
What in the Finance Act if somebody to upgrade and they sell them goods here, so but stamp the goods?
So not only the Finance Act, in addition to the Finance Act, you also get the Excise Act of 1982, where get serious provisions then where you not stamp your goods. First of all, if you not stamp your goods means saying a smuggle, you don't smuggle that. Then all the provisions then, the penalties that within the excise law will apply to you, where include, for example, 3 times the value of the goods plus the cost of the goods, where again you go get for pay a minimum of about 100,000 millions, a whole lot of penalties that they law that they will apply to.
When I don't start the implementation of this since February to now, which will be the feedback when I get from customers?
Well, from February to now, I can tell you say the results really encouraging. Both on the domestic side, when are the manufacturers them, and the importers them. Despite we still get more work for do on the side of the importers them, but I can say for free, say the results are really, really good compared to where other countries implement the same project, how they struggle. We will be far ahead of time already.
That now the Assistant Commissioner for Large Taxpayers Office now the National Revenue Authority Musa Alhaji Salia Kone they talk to Chego Jala who say and now you go find any importer or manufacturer 3 times the cost of the product where them produce or bring in the country if they not stamp them with the NRA product tracing system. The program na Good Morning Salon and we still get the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation Alhaji Timothy Musa Kaba, where they take me through the Sierra Leone position at the Security Council as Salon go take up the presidency of the Security Council.
And we will bring you this edition of the program Good Morning Salon. Musa Kamara na my name.
Adeyemi Jackson.
And we come to the Minister for Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation as we focus for today's discussion as Salon presidency to the UN Security Council where they start August this year. Mr. Minister, what in that mean? Say Salon they take up presidency of the UN Security Council.
It mean a lot. It means during the period of August, now Salon therefore be the coordinator of the works of the United Nations Security Council. The President, His Excellency President Julius Maada Bio, therefore conduct an open debate, for example, we therefore deal with international peace and security. We therefore deal with addressing the historical injustice where they don't perpetuate against Africa in terms of Africa's participation and membership in the UN Security Council. We know, say, President Bion are the chair of 10 heads of state of the African Union on the reform of the United Nations Security Council. For past 18 years, Sierra Leone don't get that responsibility, but the past couple of years with President Bio came as president, he ensures say he reinvigorates the conversation. This group of C10, one are 10 heads of state of the African Union, then get the responsibility for push for Africa's participation and more inclusion in the UN Security Council. Why? Because we believe say the council where they discuss global peace and security, most of the items I wouldn't deal with now on Africa's peace and security. But Africa now get no representation on the permanent category of this council, which is a historical injustice because Africa not been there at the table when they formed the membership of this council. And also Africa is grossly underrepresented in the non-permanent category. But because Sierra Leone don't push this effort in the past few years, President Bio don't actually get in colleagues in Africa, other stakeholders them for belief say the UN Security Council not time for making reform. And in view of that, President Bio don't take the bold step for discuss the reform of the UN Security Council, for make a more democratic, more representative, for deal with many issues of Africa. So in that quest, the President, the chair, an open debate of its kind in the council, calling the council for the council itself for reform itself. But also in Sierra Leone's contribution to global peace and security, the other part of the presidency also therefore deal with women and youth in conflict resolution and also conflict prevention. We believe say conflict prevention now one of the many tools where they deal with conflict issues where they bring about peace. So we therefore also highlight the participation of women and young people in maintaining and preventing peace. And so throughout the period, with presidency therefore ensures say Sierra Leone be the link between the other organs of the United Nations and the Security Council, Salonga for the coordinate meetings, Salonga for the whole discussions, Salonga for whole press conferences, them for also highlight the work of the UN Security Council. Now we get for chair and steward the activities of the council throughout the month of August.
Throughout the month of August, now Salon go chair and be the president for the UN Security Council. How it work? Say we now get for the chair throughout. How we get for work? Because the presidents get for the Salon, perhaps. Would I get for the representing their meetings then they?
Absolutely, we get a permanent mission to the UN.
Okay.
We get a permanent representative. We are an ambassador. We get different levels of engagement. At the heads of state and government level, now the president therefore go chair the debate for the reform of the UN Security Council. myself as Minister of Foreign Affairs, I get many other high-level meetings and we get for chair and coordinate. And at that level of permanent representatives, we ambassador in New York get for chair and coordinate the activities of the council. But largely, the responsibility get for day on the shoulders of the permanent mission. Here, in this case, the permanent representative, when we ambassador Dr. Imran Kanu.
We get for look at the team, the United Nations, how they go represent. But look at 1 month period. You don't mention plenty things them we Salone want for achieve within this 1 month. What think will be the main focus within this 1 month? You talk about youth and women in leadership position. You talk about Africa representation at the Security Council and also conflict in Africa. What think will be the prime focus of the country?
Well, like I mentioned, we get signature event where His Excellency the President get for chair, and we don't under what's in the core Rule 37 of the United Nations Security Council rules, where they invite presidents, don't invite in colleagues them, heads of state of the C10 of the African Union, for make them participate, for make them be present together with the presidents them way the countries and then at the Security Council, for make we highlight the need for the reform of the UN Security Council. That now is signature event, the reform of the UN Security Council. Like I also mentioned, we get to also deal with peace and security, where we call for the participation of women and youth, and many other thematic areas that the council get. Look, the council get a working program. Again, mandatory things that we them for do for the period of August. We get for steward them particular thing, and then we get for chair them particular mandatory session where the council get. But we own signature event, now the reform of the council, women and youth, in peace and security. So the entire month get for be about peace and security and the reform of the UN Security Council under Salone presidency.
Salone, chair of the Committee of 10, where they look at the reforms of Africa, now the Security Council, and also they take up the presidency of the Security Council of the United Nations. What does this mean for the country?
I'm happy you understand the nexus between the role of Sierra Leone in the AU for the reform of the Security Council and with presidency. We believe, say, Africa is let out from the permanent category, and we want to make Africa to be present in the permanent category, who say decision, then they make decision on global peace and security. Sierra Leone get the responsibility. We get 2 documents that they call the Esselwini Consensus and the SAT Declaration. This now African Union documents then we prescribe the role of the Committee of 10 Heads of State and Government, where Sierra Leone now the coordinator of the effort of this committee. This committee get the responsibility for gain support for canvas, other African countries, canvas, members of the UN Security Council when are permanent members and other stakeholders of the world for call for Africa common position. What's another African common position? Africa, they ask say, in the permanent category of the UN Security.
They look at more issues inside the program. The Minister of Gender and Children's Affairs, Dr. Aissata Mahaoui, don't call on women them, now Parliament and Cabinet for engage with private sector and NGO them for bring development to women them in the country. Dr. Aissata Mahaoui talked this inside an engagement where UNDP, the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources, do the final distribution of solar freezer to women them now the western, rural and urban. We report them as stance where we get more in Ghana report.
As we forgive more trend to the economic livelihood na the country, make UNDP and the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources with technical management training support from St. Salone don't complete one nationwide distribution of solar freezer them to 44 women group then at the 16 districts then at the country like Kenema, Moyamba, Bo and other districts them. And for this make they don't do the final distribution of solar freezer them to women then at the western, rural and urban area like Tombo, Godrich, Aberdeen, and other one them. But with the importance of the solar freezer, the economic advisor UNDP Salone, Mambulara Tisoni, explain.
So these solar freezers are expected to at least meet you halfway. Ensure that your businesses are sustainable. If you're able to retain freshness of your products, you can be able to at least get more from the sales that you made. Maybe we can avoid some of the conflict that the mayor has identified of women that were assaulted because the fish that they were selling were not fresh. But also, most importantly, this can...
In the talk, the country director for Sen Saloon, Joseph Ayamga, talk about the thing them what they don't do with UNDP.
One of the key objectives as an organization, we will work in this country and for empowerment. And some of we don't hear about work on women's political and economic empowerment. We don't partner with UNDP. Some of them communities where they mentioned today, like Laka, Tumbo, we don't support village savings and loans groups. And UNDP don't work with the other partner there. Create them groups here. Some are climate change groups, some are BSLA groups, some are disaster groups.
But within the plan then, where the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources gets for improve fish business na the country, Princess Duba. Now the Minister of Fisheries and Marine Resources explain.
Tell no say the fish that they born picking them, so that we go rest the work. Come on, if now you say when you get there, somebody they can't about how you go feel. And that would they do to them fish there every day. Would they go there get there? Would they go catch them? We catch all the egg there where they don't live. The one there where they go take them mangroves for dry them fish there. Now they then fish there. Now they go put their egg there. You they go in there, you go disturb and you take a dish. So I say no close season for just 1 month. And one of the reasons why I want to close season, not to get bumper harvest.
Inside Iyon talk, the Minister of Gender and Children's Affairs, Dr. Aissata Mahoy, call on Umadena cabinet for support Umandem.
Now that make His Excellency, he make him very clear in the manifesto. He say I will make sure say at least 30% of the women in this country then get benefit into leadership position and all the aspects today inside Parliament. We don't get plenty women the way for the way for talk for we. Inside the minister them, look me compete. We plenty. Now we 21 women minister. Now the first time this in the history of say, not to forget the women that they don't have Parliament and cabinet. We the women that are Parliament and cabinet. We set for ensure so we support women. Yes. We set for ensure so we work together with the private sector, the NGO, them everybody, so we bring development towards women.
For sake of this support, Umaden will benefit from the solar freezer. Yeah? They get this for saying.
And they don't get freezer. We said that they're able for put the fish. We tell God thank you for that, and we're glad for what they don't do for women. Then me are glad it take for me women. Then at least me women then go able for sustain themselves now. At least this them small money when they put inside, they go able get interest over around. They go able develop their business. Because the more the business way they do, and so loss they able upkeep them.
First thing that they able please the hearts they see. You will know the gladness bring inside the hearts. We glad it show us.
Lights now there, so the fish that they go bad. So yeah, DP thought and fit say, and the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources thought and fit say they forgive a freezer where go able cold we fish them down. So in case you go market it not done, you go able keep and the other day you go sell them. We feel so good, we feel so successful.
Then Umadea end up keyword of assurance say then go take proper care of them solar freezer yeah. We go improve them business them. For the Society for Radio Democracy, Mastan Soiree, the report.
The program is still listening to now. Good morning, Salon with the country from 98.1 FM. We still get the Minister for Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. We now Al-Aji Musa Timothy Kaba. They inside the program they talk about Salon representation at the UN Security Council as one of the 10 non-permanent members them. And this August, Salon they take up the presidency for the period of August. We now 1 month, and the minister don't highlight the focus of Salon as president now the UN Security Council for the next 1 month, which then go look at. But you mentioned earlier President Bio now the president for Sitting now Africa, and also Salon they take up the presidency now the UN Security Council for the next 1 month. What think could be the focus of the country in terms of peace now Africa, especially now the sub-region?
Well, as the UN Security Council, now the global council will deal with global peace and security, the Africa peace and security architecture what they call the African Union Peace and Security Council. Sierra Leone also a non-permanent member of that council. Because of Sierra Leone's experience in peace building and consolidation, the AU in the summit of the heads of state and government in February this year may therefore overwhelmingly also elect Salone to that Peace and Security Council of the African Union. Already, President Bio with in colleagues and within that council don't hold a virtual summit where they bring about a roadmap for deal with the conflict in Sudan. Conflicts where don't take close to 1 million lives already, and many more millions of people that don't become refugees and displaced people, with famine at the horizon in Sudan. The UN don't want to say by September, if the conflict not get a ceasefire, there may be a humanitarian catastrophe in terms of food shortages. And President Bio don't play a role in that meeting of heads of state. They urge the African Union for bring a roadmap for end the conflict in Sudan. And so, as a member of African Union Peace and Security Council, Sierra Leone they play mediation role, Sierra Leone they play peace building role, and we work honestly with that council for make sure say we bring about peace and security in the African continent.
You don't talk about the Sudan, you don't talk about other countries them, but let me look at the Sahel, for instance, now the West Africa. As ECOWAS together the meeting recently, we get 3 head of state them with a meeting at Niamey for form their own block within the common ECOWAS. What this mean for the ECOWAS, and what this mean, and what will be Salone role during the presidency in the UN Security Council, and also President Bio serving as president for C10 for ensure say unity in the African continent, as ECOWAS now the bloc we unite the West African countries them, but 3 they go out now within the form the United Nations or the UN Sahel region within the common ECOWAS.
That is very important. Sub-regional peace and security also very much important to Sierra Leone and to His Excellency the President. Unfortunate that we don't get 3 very important countries in our West Africa don't decide for left the West African organization bloc. And Sierra Leone is a glaring beneficiary of the effort of we ECOWAS organization. Going back to the days of conflict in Sierra Leone, we see the sacrifice where ECOWAS make through ECOMOG for calm and fet na Salone for restore democracy. So when we get conflicts in any of the West African states, it concerns us because we are a member of the sub-regional bloc. And ECOWAS in the past, then considered for be one of the most vibrant and one of the most successful regional economic communities in the African continent. Unfortunately, the days have changed. Many challenges don't come. The world is not the same. There are many global players now, as opposed to a world where we know for be bipolar. Now we don't get multiple other significant global players. Then we don't make the global politics itself don't become very much shaky, because many of these global players get their influence and interest in the African continent. It is this conflict of interest where they cause a lot of conflict in Africa today. And that is why in the 78th General Assembly of the United Nations, last year, President Bio in his statement make commitments say where Sierra Leone for going at the UN Security Council, it will make African issue a priority, especially West Africa. And what we don't do, we make sure say UNOWAS, under the United Nations Office for West Africa and the Sahel, we're stationed in Senegal, we get a presidential statement of the UN Security Council for empower that office there. Since 2001, that office not been the well function. And because that office not been the function well, the United Nations not been to get forewarning on potential coups in them countries here. And that is why President Bio, Sierra Leone, working with Switzerland, come about with a presidential statement for ensure say we empower that particular office there. But besides, President Bio and Sierra Leone don't play a significant role in this mediation. Sierra Leone and Togo will get the responsibility for mediate with Niger, for example, which we do. And also, ECOWAS itself is also looking at reforming itself. Now, in fact, we get the summit of the future of ECOWAS, where they can soon will for discuss on how for reform ECOWAS as an organization for be fit for the challenges of the 21st century. Then 3 countries and we don't decide, say, then they form their own alliance. We still they communicate because all the 3 countries and they contact Sierra Leone. Yesterday I get the privilege for talk with the foreign minister of Mali, and I also they talk with the foreign minister of Burkina Faso and the foreign minister of Niger for use President Bio, who is respected in the sub-region, where with an experience as a former military head of state and also as a civilian president today, for make we see how we will work with these countries for bring them back to the ECOWAS bloc.
You make mention of reforming ECOWAS for March 21st century challenges. What do you think say for be reformed about ECOWAS?
Well, the challenges are now different. Many years ago, most of the things that ECOWAS was going to do now, economic integration, save the military intervention to Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Guinea-Bissau. But if we look at the emerging issues and today the challenges, climate change now one, unconstitutional takeover of democratic government, you get discrimination and inequality, you get the ripple effect of global shift in power. So ECOWAS itself, therefore reforming itself, will be more capable, more responsive, and be more efficient and effective for dealing with sub-regional issues.
In this Salon presidency to the UN Security Council, will therefore see this be a focus or be on the table for discussion?
Well, the Security Council get thematic issues. It is the peace and security of West Africa is not unrelated to the functioning of the UN Security Council. What does that mean? It means if the UN Security Council is reformed and we get African membership in the permanent category, we were able as a continent for make decisive decisions on African issues, and that is why we call for the reform of the UN Security Council, for let Africa get heavy voice in the Security Council for deal with this kind of issues where Africa is affected with. The UN Security Council in its present configuration, the way it is right now, Africa is disadvantaged. And I make President Bio say he is going to call for the reform of the council, make Sierra Leone presidency deal with that issue, and the signature event will himself as head of state they go preside over now for reform the council, for make the council will be more responsive to African issues.
Alhaji Timothy Musa Kaba and the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, they take way to Salon position. The Security Council continue for the way they take this break, and after that we'll come and continue with the program. Good morning, Salon.
We come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy 98.1 FM as we get from one of the headline stories then today inside the program. We go talk to the chairman for Ward C with Kasha Holland Cole. We go give updates on the recent activity na the Waterloo community who say massive grave opening they happen. We get Kasha Holland Cole now online. Good morning and welcome to the program. Good morning, Salon Kasha.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
Yes, we get you on Good Morning Salon this morning for give updates on the latest happening now Waterloo. We say the issue of grave opening don't be of concern to community people. What's in the latest on this?
Well, as you say, this is a great concern because we at this part of the country no one they experience that kind of thing because we celebrate them with respect. Because we believe, say, when people they don't die, who go bury them, and certain people that's outside, we always respect them. So when this comes as a surprise story, for me, we wake up in the morning, they don't open about 15 graves, and what's painful, this is the recent burial there. And so it actually painfully, the community received that message of shock. And as you asked me, we don't mount up investigations. The local youth commander for Waterloo, Mr. Bunge, and the team, they don't pay visits. And also the district council police officers also again, they investigate, because we want to know the root cause, we want to know who that then do that particular act that are being got in. So the village aid man, we don't do an official report to we, and as a council now we're in charge of cemeteries, we'll investigate, and very, very soon we'll come out the information of the people who that they're responsible for that kind of thing they will happen at the gravesite that's being got.
Kasha, this starts now Waterloo recently, and you say una surprised and it take una aback. But if we don't follow national issues, you're going to say perhaps grave opening na thing way rampant na Freeton, for instance. Is it that the council not be prepared for this and put security in place?
Well, I don't say they happen in other parts of the country, but we, as I say, we expect we get them. We expect we cemetery them, because I will not say on public. Some of the people will open and grave there, so definitely the people who do are not going to go free. Yes, some of them are ceremonial people. You know, just come that the grave side of Waterloo being gone, you just can't do what you want for today. Like ceremonial burial sites, all we expect. We prepare sometimes. We don't think seriously, but you don't say the ring. We get young men them we get like they push cook them. We get man they take care of the burial. Even the man they make a team where they manage the cemetery. But the heavy burial where they come, then people are use the opportunity to come on the and go do that here, because they come here everyone will, you know, each major person outside for the watch burial site them. So they use the opportunity for good events. But as I say, we're investigating and now they put measures in place for better kinds to not happen again, because we really encourage them kinds to happen now in the street at all.
What are the measures they will have put in place now for ensure say things like this not happen again?
One for work on the fence, because the fence some side low, some side way high. One for make sure safe the gates and reduce. One for increase the height of the fence. That is one. Also one try for put solar lights at the burial, so that the man they at security go for see for a far distance, because it's a very big cemetery. They're going to see for a far distance, and they're going to increase the number of security personnel the way around that, especially the night one. Them. So anything they want to do.
Okay, thank you very much for joining me in the edition of the program Kasha Holland Cole in the chairman for Ward C. They talk about the recent activity which people don't begin open grave them na Ward C. According to them, they don't launch investigation and serve they put security in place for CC. Then kind continue for the B na the Waterloo community. The program Good Morning Salon they continue. We still get the Minister for Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. Al-Aji Musa Timothy Kaba. We did inside the program they talk about Salon representation at the UN Security Council and the presidency we then go take up this August. The program Good Morning Salon they continue. We go for Wakabot. We continue with the minister.
Another morning again.
Forget the democracy 98.1. We still get the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Alaji Timothy Musa Kaba. We talk about Salon position at the Security Council. Mr. Minister, let's come back home. The issue of Yenga don't be of serious concern. A lot of people were the other parties on the raise concern with regard the Guinean military involvement part of Yenga. As we talk, what's the position of Yenga as we speak?
Yenga is a very, very important issue to His Excellency the President and to we as a country. Where we get the Guinean Armed Forces get a training camp right now on the territory of Sierra Leone. The history of Yenga is that in 1998, under the leadership of late President Kaba, the Guinean Armed Forces being get for be stationed there as part of ECOMOG for deter the area from attacking Guinea. After the conflict, President Kaba, President Alpha Conde, and others been declared, say, as the war end, the Guinean Armed Forces for left Yenga. But we don't see over the past 20 years, these people don't occupy that territory cunningly, and now it don't reach to a point where His Excellency the President don't instruct for the decampment, demobilization, and for the withdrawal from that Yenga territory. Since Guinea is a very friendly country to Sierra Leone, we don't continue to engage with the authorities in Guinea. We don't also escalate this particular discussion to ECOWAS and to the African Union, but at bilateral level, we engage with the Guineans for make sure say them pull them forces them from the Yenga territory. This is unacceptable. Myself as Minister of Foreign Affairs, I get the responsibility where the president charged on me for go see what in the happen at Yenga. The security forces are all aware of that and they engage intensively with my counterparts in Guinea, and the president also they engage with the head of state for bring this a solution to this Yenga issue.
You mentioned say the president or instruct for the decampment of the military, the Guinean military in Yenga, but take it down the line. During the 2018 election, this is one thing where President Biobi campaign say he going to ensure say bring back Yenga. Bring back Yenga. 6 years down the line, we don't see the head of state in Guinea become a saloon come to President Bio. 6 years down the line, the issue of Yenga still remain the same.
Well, it not remain the same, save.
But the Guinean troops are still in Yenga.
That's understandably, yes, that is exactly true. For 20 years, they don't depart this, and so the engagement is going on. The president, they talk with him counterpart in Guinea. Myself, they engage with the foreign minister in Guinea, and the security forces of Sierra Leone also they engage with their counterpart in Guinea. The diplomatic discussions they go on. Of course, we know they go fight conflict with Guinea. We get for settle this thing diplomatically, bilaterally, and also the use multilateral institutions.
What's the challenge there in terms of taking back the Guinean troop from Yenga? Because the people in Yenga still they raise concern in terms of the condition and how the harassment whether they get from the Guinean troop them. So what's the challenge there between the two countries in terms of removing the Guinean troops from Yenga?
It's also very much concerns me as it concerns the president. We're responsible for the security of the citizens of this country. When Mrs. Ebgo Yenga, the truth be told, I was really disturbed. And at some point in time where I reached the Yenga territory, some people were very scared, say, no, Mr. Minister, you know, for go. I said, no, this is the territory of Sierra Leone. I go Yenga and meet the commanding officer where they did. We've been there, the other, the Guinean part, one Colonel Rasiba. I instruct, say, for Kana, the Yenga territory, where he come, because that was an instruction that he also get from the foreign minister of Guinea. And he came the territory, and I told them in no simple terms that they don't annexation, that's Sierra Leonean territory then they. And you question, say, who's they hold up there? And we don't engage Conakry, and Conakry also don't engage them commandos in the territory. I think there is a little mistrust in the aspect of Yenga, where we go, we discuss with the Guineans, and then the promise say action will be taken. But this time around, the message where President Bio don't send to the president, when myself don't engage my counterpart, and ECOWAS also don't be involved in this. Quite recently, the president of the ECOWAS Commission visit Guinea, and one of the discussions of the visit was the Yenga issue, that it is internationally accepted that Yenga is the territory of Sierra Leone and that the Guinean armed forces were left. But we did on the engagement, and be rest assured that His Excellency the President is up to the task for relieve Yenga of the Guinean armed forces.
I take you back to 2015. We say the first time president na Salon, we na Ernest by Kroma, and that of the first time president Alpha Conde, being even reach an agreement them for make them people move them all to go Yenga celebration. The people and withdraw. And later we see they don't come back. Now they come in different style. They don't begin build permanent structures. Them, as my colleague rightly mentioned, waiting the old Salon back by the time we Guinea and don't withdraw for make their own military then go camp. Now the land where Salon gets still Guinea then go and then think back say no come back and take build camp then at this land, and this time around now permanent structures.
Like you say, the three heads of states they all don't make effort for stop this encroachment, for stop this annexation and this aggression. I choose for calling aggression, like you said, because now there is a military presence on the territory. And here's the thing: we want to exploit all the internal mechanism that we'll get for resolve this conflict bilaterally. But also last year ratify on behalf of Sierra Leone the Niamey Convention. The Niamey Convention are the convention where Sierra Leone don't accede to, when are the mechanism through which countries of the African continent can seek for arbitration on boundary issues, on border issues. So this don't give we a room as a country for approach the African Union, one of the biggest regional organization, for deal with the conflict really between the border issue between we and Guinea. And also ECOWAS also don't take this thing very seriously, because the president also don't make this complaint to ECOWAS. The ECOWAS president in June came to Conakry and discussed this with the Guineans. Mano River Union also don't take this conversation to the Guineans. So we have intensified the conversation through with bilateral engagement and also multilateral engagement. And not also forget, say, the rules of engagement when it comes to these particular border issues, therefore be one that they consider with bilateral relations and the benefits they get between each other as neighboring countries. But the president is keen on resolving the younger issue with the escalator to their organizations, whilst they exploit we bilateral medium will get for bringing this conflict on.
You talk about diplomacy for Salon. They use diplomacy for ensure say the Guinea soldier they left Yenga, and then they come with military might, and then they even build host there na land where Salon thinks that then get the land away na land where belong to Salon. What in the stop Salon for deploy military presence na Yenga and take the land?
Well, I think the security and military of Sierra Leone don't assess the situation, and I believe say the reason why we not they take military measures right now is because it's not the best option for explore and exploit.
Salon not get the military might for take their land?
I wouldn't say so. Sierra Leone is a sovereign nation with a very formidable armed forces. We're not going to conflict for Yenga. We explore and exploit the diplomatic means we'll get right now, and we'll get there. We will not go into war with Guinea. Astaghfirullah.
Alaji Musa Timothy Kaba, the Minister for Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, there for talk about Salon membership na the UN Security Council as one of the 10 non-permanent members them, and Salon they take up the presidency this August. Una don't send una text message them on 077981981, also on our Facebook page. Now time for me to look at some of the messages them una don't send. The first one where they take on with 077981981 line say, what is the position of ARSLAF in peacekeeping operations? Because that is the only way to motivate our military personnel as Sierra Leone be in that position of presidency at the UN Security Council.
This one what it take now with Facebook page say, Mr. Minister, regarding the recent escalation of the bombardment by the Israeli Defense Force in Lebanon soil as of yesterday, the international defense claims to retaliate on Hamas hotspots. Are there plans to help evacuate Sierra Leoneans in Beirut and also Lebanon?
This one from King Solo, now we 077981981 line, they say, for the next 100 years, no country in Africa shall rise to be permanent member of the Security Council, as we are not democratic, we are poor, and we don't have the means.
This one from Guy John Sebe, content on Facebook page, say, Mr. Minister, your diplomatic acumen and strategic vision have played a pivotal role in enhancing Sierra Leone's relationship with other countries by actively engaging with global partners. You have not only fostered collaboration but also opened doors for vital economic and cultural exchanges that benefit our citizens. Your ability to navigate complex international issues with grace and determination is truly commendable.